I want to rant so bad, but for whatever reason, my Streamlabs OBS decides to reset itself, and now I'm stuck at 480p, like, box? Like, why do I have the black bars? I don't know. But I can't really record like this. I go to transform, and I go to center to screen, nothing. Uh, I check my properties. I'm at 1920 by 1080. That's my PC's freaking screen resolution. That don't want to work. I change it to something else, thinking like, oh, maybe I can switch, go from 1600 to 896 and then click to 1080. Nah, I'm just stuck at 480. So, or like whatever this is. I don't know why, but this is why I can't record anything right now. Because for whatever reason, Streamlabs OBS decides to reboot itself, or I don't know. So this is just an absolute mess. And I don't know what to do to fucking fix it. Why on earth is it under edit transform for the face cam? Why is it set to the settings I would make it for, like, streaming NASCAR, like NASCAR 15? Why is that set for the... How on earth was I gonna know that? Alright, for context purposes, I don't know what screen to even show this on, but my face cam settings... Where the fuck is it? It was under Edit Transform, and it was like this. The only instance that it's adjusted like this is, like I was saying, for NASCAR 15 or something, if I ever stream that. But I have not streamed in this type of thing in months. Why is the face cam thing to this? That makes no sense. See, now I'm back to reset. Don't make a whole lot of sense to me. I don't get it. Alright, now that all that is situated, let's talk about the race, or race. I guess, I don't know. For context, I didn't even see the race. I was at work. I thought I had to do a double, and I didn't have to. Then I talked to Mom on the phone because I worry about her, and I just wanted to spend time with her. So I chose that over the race, which I think is a smart thing to do for a human being. So I don't know really what happened with the race. Apparently, from what I heard, it was better race than normal for Martinsville. Good job. Truex had a horrible day as usual. Something went wrong. He sped and then got wrecked. So typical Truex horrible day. Not really anything new. The biggest highlight is, I don't know, where do we fucking begin here? Where's my notebook? There it is. All right. So where did I have this written down? Oh God. Got a lot to talk about. So we got like race manipulation. We got wall riding. Glazing of from the announcers. We missed about a driver getting wrecked and sent to the hospital, and then like no remorse about it. And there was even jokes about the apology was like AI generated, which I don't think is true, but it's funny. A bump and run from Ekis. That's gonna cause him more problems for the championship for the finale. So that doesn't really bode well for him. So Taylor Gray is gonna probably destroy him, or well, they say that shit, but they remember in Xfinity with Ty Gibbs and how everybody was like, oh, we're gonna get Ty Gibbs, and then Noah Gragson was speaking all this shit, talking smack like the whole weekend and does nothing. So I'll be shocked if something happens, but it's Truck Series, so they might do something stupid. So yeah, I missed a lot. What do I even say about this race for that matter? It's just sad. It's just typical. What do I say to it? Other than this is what you get with this format. You enable this slop. What do I mean by that? What am I talking about? Bubba Wallace just mysteriously just says he has a tire going down with a few laps to go, instead of just racing it out like what most racers would probably do at the end, and just kind of go for broke. He decides to slow up a considerable amount to let his teammate get some extra points. Don't really find that in the spirit of racing, but sure. Then we got Christopher Bell, like, wall riding, but the rule was never really made clear of what constitutes as wall riding. Is it the whole corner, part of the corner? Well, I guess we know now it's part of the corner, and he did gain a spot out of it. So I don't know if NASCAR really did the right call, but there was also a lot of shitty shit of Byron was on older tires at the end, from what I have heard and seen and everything. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of Chevy drivers just catch him. And then they just stop. They ran him down and they stopped. Now, if this was like normal Martinsville from other years, then you could probably chalk it up to dirty air being terrible. But this race was kind of an anomaly for that issue, where people seemed to pass, or at least it was at least more easier to do so. So it's kind of shady. But this is the format. This is the format. This is what happens when you have this happen. We saw this shit at Vegas. Everybody kind of likes to pretend like that didn't happen with Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, then Ty Gibbs and Christopher Bell or something. Like, people like don't want to remember that, or they glaze over it and like don't pretend. I mean, we kind of saw that shit before, so I'm not really surprised it got amplified even more with more on the line now than at Vegas. I guess. Well, yeah, that was like the first race of the round of 8, and now this is the final race of the round of 8, and yeah, it's just typical. I mean, what else do you want me to say? It's just embarrassing. This is why I don't want to be a part of this. Honestly, I even blame Chase Elliott for being like the most popular driver, and yet he like wants no part of like Netflix stuff, or just doesn't care. After this race and just NASCAR in general, I don't even blame him. Don't even blame him. I blame more the fans for making him be like a part of this like fan vote, or like making him be like the most popular driver, putting him in that position. That's on the fans' fault at this point. That's on them. You're giving it to a driver that literally just does not care. Mind you, this is the same Chase Elliott that said in an interview like literally today, yesterday, or something. Somebody was asking about his championship trophy, like where that's at. He just said it's at his shop. He kind of suggests that, you know, he doesn't really have time to see it, or doesn't really care to pick it up or even take it home. Because even Chase Elliott knows, in the pit of his heart, he didn't earn that championship. He doesn't feel like he earned it. It's not his fault, but it's kind of a shitty thing they has to live with now, all because of this dumbass format. And mind you, still salty about 2020 with that, because Kevin Harvick missed the Final Four, because a big chunk of that was because of fucking rain at Texas. Don't really think that's fair that rain ruined him the entirety of his season, because rain on the track essentially fucked him up. That's not, I don't think that's, I can't really say that's like, I guess the only thing you can knock him on is he didn't get stage points at Martinsville. But should his entire season be derailed so hardcore for not getting top 10 at a random point in the race? Mind you, I don't even mind the idea of stage points existing, but when you reset the points like 4 times, yeah, you're going to get weird shit like this to happen. And that was one of them. And this is just one of them again today. I mean, I don't know how fans put up with it. I really don't. I mean, unless the Stockholm syndrome is real strong, or the simping for the sport is so strong, like they can't leave, because like it's too in their DNA. I don't know. All I know is I am happy to check out. I'm happy. I don't have to care. I mean, I've kind of stopped caring basically as soon as Truex announced he was going to retire, because I knew the writing was on the wall, because nothing was going right. And I was calling it. I was calling it at Sonoma, like the week of Sonoma, when he ran out of fuel, and everybody was making fun of him for running out of fuel, even though there's a lot of context behind that, where his crew chief never told him to save fuel, so Truex was under the impression of just not fuel saving wasn't an issue. And all the crew chief had to tell him was just, once he lost the lead, it's like, hey, you know, you got to fuel save. That's all he had to do. The minimal amount of fuel saving, like 5%. Literally just one corner probably, and he would have been fine to make it. Like, it was so minimal. And the crew chief side, we're just gonna put him in this position. Everybody's now, and obviously in hindsight, everybody's gonna laugh at him. And even though I think in private he already said that he was gonna announce his retirement and stuff, but I fucking had that feeling, and I called it. And you know what? It eventually did happen. It's just that it wasn't public at the time, so I feel good about that. Very ranty today. Not in a good mood. It's just I don't. It's like watching a sport's like watching a drug addict. You can tell them every which way up and down the vicinity of the obscenity of everything to try to get them to understand like the path you're going on is bad, and they're just like in denial, and they think it's great. It's just delusion. It is pure delusion, and I don't want to be around here. I don't want to be a part of it. I will still make videos dunking on it because that's the funniest shit ever anymore. Because part of his views, because that's like the only thing that this channel gets attention of is my rant. So unfortunately, that's still gonna happen because there's still gonna be stupid shit year in and year out. Also, Larson missed the Final Four. That's fine. Yeah, driver that was the best all year, literally was leading the points, literally had missed a race and still was leading the points. Can't win a championship because of Ryan Blaney, who I'm pretty sure was below the cut line, and Joey Logano getting his fuel mileage win. That's fair, right? That's deserving. We got two people in there that really have no business, or someone said like none of the top 5 were even in, except for Reddick. That's great. Glad in the record books, Joey Logano is going to be ahead of Larson, even though Larson has completely destroyed Logano in like every statistical category imaginable, and that doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand it. But just because Logano won at a optimal time, his Larson now, I don't even, like, it's just stupid. It's just year in, year out, another instance in the long laundry list of problems that continue to happen, and no one at NASCAR cares enough to change it because they don't care. They just want any publicity. They're under the assumption that all publicity is good publicity. I don't know. I mean, NASCAR's kind of turned to like a lolcow at this point, like the lolcow of racing, and don't really. This is what I mean. I don't even blame Chase Elliott for not wanting to be a part of this or not caring. I kind of question why even Chase Elliott is racing if he just doesn't care so much. I mean, he's probably got more money enough to live the rest of his life without doing anything. So where does he have to gain by being a part of this? Unless he's like contractually obligated or tied to a sponsor or tied to it. I don't know. I don't know why he's even around if he doesn't care that much. I don't blame him. I blame more, like I was saying, I blame more the fans for giving him the most popular driver because he doesn't deserve it. He clearly doesn't. He doesn't deserve it, doesn't want to be a part of it. And I don't blame him. At this rate, sure, we can have a great Homestead race where everything was pretty positive, but then when you get Richmond, you get Vegas with the ending of that, you get Martinsville or Nashville or the Indy race with the whole finish, that just too many negatives. Like 5 races, and Bristol was good, but that was only by a fluke, not because of that was like NASCAR's intention. It was just a mistake. So was that really like? That wasn't really intended. I mean, it's just not worth the time. It's not worth the time to get invested in. Next year's even more confusing with qualifying and different TV networks, and you got paid script. I'm not giving NASCAR any more fucking money. It's not worth it. The only thing I'm gonna do is probably find like a third seller or like a second seller, like a second party, third party seller of the Truex New Hampshire thing, because at least if I'm going to give my money, I'm going to give it to some person and not to a conglomerate like Lionel or anything, because then that technically probably gets sanctioned off with NASCAR that's like the last thing, and that's only because of a Truex thing. After that, going forward, I want like no part of it, and it's sad. I wish it was different, but it took 10 years for me to get whittled down and get fed up of this. It took 10 years. Other people may take longer. Maybe just with this, I don't know. I really wonder how people cope with this. I'm kind of tired of coping with it or even trying to enjoy it. Over the years, I can't just watch it without having someone to root for. It's just not in my DNA. I'm sorry. I can't. I watched football for like 2 seasons in like 2006, 2007, 2008, somewhere around that range. I mean, so much of a fan, or at least I was trying to be a fan, so much that I try to make it a tradition where if whatever team won the Super Bowl, I would get their hats. So it says 2008. I don't know the years. I don't know Roman numerals so well, but It exists. This is a fact. I tried, and it just didn't work because I didn't really have a team to root for. I didn't really have. I just couldn't get into it. I'm like one in a billion, honestly, and it's unfortunate. But with NASCAR, it's sort of the same thing where I can't just watch it to watch. I mean, I like Eric Jones, but I can't just watch Eric Jones just run 30th when he made his own pit where he chose to be with this team that is so awful and so terrible. If that's on him at this point, he chose this. I mean, literally, Spire, Rick Rare Racing would be better. So I don't know. I can't do that to myself. It's just too painful. Truex was like the last thread of like watching someone like and rooting and competing for like someone that was like at least relatively competitive. And mind you, I was a big fan of Truex in like 2013. It was because of Spingate, because Spingate like kind of screwed his career up for like no real reason, and he had nothing to do with any of it. So I kind of sympathized with him, and I was a fan ever since. I remember going to Pocono, and in 2015 when he won, and it was just like one tiny little row of Truex merch. That's how little they like the. It was like I don't know if it was in terms of families, but in terms of merch and everything, minuscule. And to see him get so good, it was surreal. Like I never saw it was never like that with Dale Jr. in terms of like him just winning constantly, just being stupidly competitive. It was a dream. I got everything I could have wanted in my entire life as a NASCAR fan. Going to my first race ever, seeing Dale Jr. win. Then going to Pocono, seeing Truex win. Then I got to see Kurt Busch win. And Matt Kenseth, like, it won't get any better. It will not get any better than that. That is a dream. I got to see Truex lead laps of Pocono get a stage win. That's fucking sweet. I mean, I feel like I had a good time. I think I lived being a NASCAR fan to the fullest, and I don't think it'll get much better than that. And I have made peace with that. I can't just watch without rooting for someone, and especially with more often than not, either I miss a lot of chunk of the races because of work, or you know, it's sad. I don't know. 5 good races don't save the other 30 if they're just mid, forgettable, or just like an atrocity like this where the ending gets derailed so much that it just ruins what was a generally well-received race until the ending where race manipulation kind of came into hand in such a blatant manner. Now, mind you, race manipulation has always sort of been a thing with teams and manufacturers, but not to such a blatant degree where cars are just slowing up on track, just letting cars go by, or trying to wall ride. It's just more blatant, way more blatant. Like we've seen Rick Hendrick field like an extra car at 95 Atlanta race. We're going to get more points, even though I still question that, because wouldn't Earnhardt in theory get more points because it's an extra car and it's going to be slow, so Earnhardt would gain like 3 more points, but so are Gordon. So wouldn't that even out? Like, wouldn't that? I don't understand it. Jimmy Smith did that in 03 at Homestead where he threw in a bunch of trucks and like field fillers. Like there's always been like a level of that, but it's too egregious with the manufacturers. It's just too blatant, and it's just another layer. It's just another layer of this nonsensical format that enables chaos at the cost of everything. Championships don't mean much. We've seen that with how Chase Elliott feels about it. That kind of tells you all right there with just how he doesn't even care to pick up the trophy and take it home. You would think winning a championship would mean something to the point where, I would want to put that in my house or home, not just in a shop somewhere where he never looks at it, because he knows that it was bullshit. I'm reiterating the same points. I'm running out of things to talk about. But it's just the same old. Poor Larson. Again, want to make this point clear. I really have no dog in the fight. It's not like I care much if Larson makes or not, but for the sake of just fairness and legitimacy, yeah, Larson should be competing for a championship. But the Winston Cup thing, as much as I think Winston Cup is mostly accurate, but factoring in stage points, drivers would race a little differently, so the points would be different. I think the Racing Reference one's a little more accurate. But yeah, with the Winston Cup, we got like a 3-car point battle. Chandler Smith not being able to compete for a championship, even though he's been the best all year in Xfinity. That's another layer of it. It's just, what else? I don't know. I don't know how people put up with it. It's good rage bait. It's good clicks. That's like all it's got. Because at least based on how my channel goes, if I made a homestead video and it was like positive, no one's gonna watch. Because it's kind of true. Negativity just sells, and that's sad. I wish it wasn't like that, but that's the world we're in, and not that I really want to accept it, but I'll just push back. I'll talk about stupid shit that happens. I'm always up for that. But in terms of investing my time, I like when people say that all the time. It's like, oh, you gotta stop by. It's like, we're like 3-4 races away. We're right at the tail end of the season. I'm gonna stick through it. Or at least I'm making an effort to watch. But beyond this, I mean, I know Daytona 500. Oh, true. But I'm, again, making the same points every single week because people don't seem to understand. Or I like, oh, Truex raced Daytona. It's like one of his statistically worst tracks. Oh, but Cole Pern. But you can't really do the tricks that he did with these cars. It's not the same. It's all just nostalgia, and I can see right through it. And Truex it's like one of his worst tracks is Daytona. What, do I get to watch him plow into the wall one more good time for a good measure? Like, that's not fun. I got no real excitement for that. The only thing I can hope is maybe Truex won't give a shit and just plow through people and be just terrible. That's how I want to go out. Fuck everything. Just treat the field like how the field has treated him, like, because that's kind of what they've done to him, like what feels like his whole career. Now that I don't know, it's just gross. Gone. It's frustrating. It's even hard to even root for people like Bubba because of this stuff, this snake-like tactics. And it's like, I know he did what he had to do. Shrug emoji. Ryan Vargas, Ryan Blaney did what he had to do. That's literally the epithet of what every race car driver, stock car driver in America has done probably since cars existed. They did what they had to do to win. Good on them. What a statement. I don't know, man. It's like with some of this shit with Bell and then not really Byron, but just the other Chevy drivers like backing up. It's just like, yeah, that's my driver. He just became a bitch and just kept Byron in front of him because Chevy teammate, like, the spirit of racing is just so diluted to this circus. Like, even if I wanted to try to become a fan, so, well, now I would always think in my mind, well, he will just back off another Chevy driver. Not even teammate, just a Chevy manufacturer. It's like, I don't want my driver to be like that. I want my driver to go 100% in, race. Not bend a knee to anyone. I can't do that. I literally can't do this anymore. And for people that can, you got more bravado skill than me, because I don't know. I just can't. So enjoy your slop. I'll be here to dunk on it, make fun of it. And that's really it. I don't even know if I have enough space in this computer for this video. I don't know, but anyways, I'm done. Enjoy your 24 and a half, 23-minute rant or whatever this is. So, yeah. Why on the CW are they talking about... What fucking show is this? The World Trade Center bombing of, 1993? Why is this on the CW? What? Okay, it's not that, but, it's some kind of, tragedy, which is a fitting course for what's going on with NASCAR is a literal tragedy just in motion, on wheels. Can't say WWE on wheels, but boy howdy do they just make a format that feels like a show. I just wish they just come out and said that it was entertainment, and it was just all for entertainment, because at that point I'd be like, you know what? I agree. But they're not going to do that. They still want to be, legitimate somehow. So, yeah. Okay, now I'm done. Bye.